today. This is the monthly review of our leadership platform and our mental health platform for September. So, for September on our leadership platform, let's talk with Gooley, my wife, pastor, co founder of Rock Faith International Ministries, and also as we are speaking on Simple Balanced Life Ministries. And she talked about in our leadership, leading from the rear. Leading from the rear. And she made a quote by Nelson Mandela and talking about leadership. It is better, he said, it is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger. Then people will appreciate your leadership. Something to think about. This is a man, of course, he fought apartheid and he was in prison maybe about 4 times, but in total of 27 years. So he was a leader in before he went to prison and also a leader in the 27 years, little over 27 years in prison. Then after he finally got out, he was a greater leader, but he had to lead from the rear. We have to realize leading from the rear is probably more important, just as important as leading from the front. And here's a good definition for leadership or a leader. Anyone who influenced the decision or life of another. Anyone who influenced the decision or life of another. Now we know we have good leaders and we have bad leaders, but leaders or leadership is just leadership, and we want to be good leaders. And she spoke on several things about some myths about leader or leadership. One, leaders are the ones that are always in charge and makes the decision. Myths about leaders. Two, leadership is nothing more than a title. These are myths now. And people buy into this, unfortunately. Leaders have to be all knowing. Four, leadership is all about the leader. And five, leadership is the same as management. A leader will influence others. A leader will put others first. I was talking to the technician that came to our house by the internet yesterday, and we were talking about leadership. And I said sometimes people are fearful of their positions, their jobs, so therefore they'll push other people down. And I thank God I have not been a victim of being intimidated or fearful of my position. I know that God, as God put me there and I trust Him, hey, I'm fine. So I'm not threatened by my position being taken. So a good leader will not be threatened, but push others forward, make others better. The leader, as it stated, is not all knowing. I tell people in our ministries that I don't know it all. It's not a shock. I really rely on God, and also I rely on the team of people around me. And I jokingly say, but also truthful, I said I'm a good leader because now watch this. I have leaders around me who are more versed in many areas that I am in or that I'm attuned to. So therefore, it does not intimidate me that others know more than I do about certain things. But God has put me in my position, so therefore, I want to learn from others. I want to get the information. I want to promote people. So Pastor Janice really talked about these things about leading from the rear. And one of the things that she really did, and she got promoted so much on her job and in ministry, was she led from the rear, then God gave her opportunities to move forward. So I say to you today, don't be threatened by your position. Don't put others down. Don't fall into the myths about leadership. Again, the leaders are the ones that are always in charge and makes the decision. Leadership is nothing more than a title. Leaders have to be all-knowing. Leadership is all about the leader, and leadership is the same as management. And then I'm talking about starting at home, started with oneself, and at your home and beyond to be that leader that God is pleased with and that people will not mind following. Okay, so that's the part about leadership. And also in our other platform about mental health, we talked about Christianity and mental health myths. And this was Jada Overton, and she works with Chesterfield County Department of Mental Health, and she's been there for about 30 years. So she talked about those types of challenges, and she is a supervisor with the adult care. She's a legal clinical social worker, and she talked about Christianity and mental health or myths. So some of the things that she talked about are warning signs of mental health. The warning signs, started out with that at first, and sometimes it's fear. You running stop signs, fluctuating weight, hearing, seeing things that are not there, drugs and alcohol, mood changes, switches, self-harm. And so these are quite a few of these things that are about mental health. And listen to this. She had given some information that I found out that was wild. And she stated this: it's about 21% of the homeless people with mental health illness. And we would think about many, many more. No, not necessarily. And then 20% of the veterans deal with this. Now, these are just on what the organization has polled, and people gave their responses. Then it's also said those under 18 years of age are in the hospitals because of what? Depressive disorders. Okay, so it is so many things, so many myths. And she asked the question, can you look at a person and tell if they have a mental health challenge? No, not necessarily. Because when I was going through my time of mental health challenges, even I can remember, as I said before, from 5 years old, as far as 5 years old, and that's 1962, a lifetime ago. And as I look back to my younger me, I can see even early on now that I had some mental health challenges. Then it became worse as I got older because I did not know how to handle it, and know my parents, and no disgrace to them. It's just what it was back then. And even medical science didn't always understand it. So these are some things we have to be careful of. Everybody that you see on the street, not necessarily dealing with a mental health issue. People in various areas, there's so much that people are going through today. And some of the causes of mental health illness is trauma, genetics, physical illness, head injury, thyroid issues, stroke, urinary tract infection. I mean, I think that, but yes, social environment, racism, war, PTSD, and so many of these things can cause mental health issues. Now, then she gave that first, but then she came around saying that some of the myths for the church, and that's the one that's real sensitive to me, because being someone who had dealt with mental health challenges for the greater part of my life, thank God for years and years I've been set free. But the inference it was, or stated and inferred, just pray about it. I usually use this right here and say, if your child needs clothing and food and things for school, just pray about it. Sit down on your behind and just pray about it. If you need mortgage for you, pay your mortgage and apartment rent and insurance for your vehicle, just everyday living, just sit down and pray about it. No. God gave us means. So we have to be careful about faith and foolishness. So here are some of the myths that we talked about. Christians don't get depressed. That's what sometimes people believe. Christians don't get depressed. And also mental health challenges is due to unconfessed sin and punishment. Of course now, gotta be careful of that. When we keep rejecting God, keep doing the things that we shouldn't do, they can play a part on our mental health, and it can cause some really bad things, but just can't all out and say it's due to that. Then Christians only need spiritual support. That's another myth. Okay? That we shouldn't even think that. Of course, if we want to go to a Christian go to counseling, and if there's a Christian counselor who has spiritual part, but also has been taught in school and trained in all the other areas, is 2 into 1. Another myth is need to surrender the illness to God. Well, we need to surrender everything to God, but this is an oxymoron. Need to surrender the mental health illness to God. Surrender everything to God, not just mental health challenges, everything to God. Then another myth is it's due to weak faith. See, again, mental health illness can come through trauma, genetics, environment, just nutritional deficiencies, medication. So we just can't say that. And then mental health illness is demonic. Now, we know there are demonic influences. We know that now. We know that Satan can get into it, but we just can't outrightly say mental health sickness or illnesses are demonic. So I would encourage you all, come on our platforms on the first Thursday of each month. Let's talk with Ghoulie, and I'm Ghoulie. And the third Thursday of this month, of each month, is New Horizon Mental Health Support, New Horizon Mental Health Support Group. And we do that both at 6 o'clock. And also for October, we will have Carol Nicole Battle, a young lady, and she'll be our youngest coming on. She will talk about her journey and how the mental health challenges do not define her. So please spread the word. See us on this Thursday, on the first Thursday of the month and the third Thursday of the month, that we can share, we can learn from each other. And if you want to participate in any one of these platforms, the leadership and the mental health, because we all have mental health, either good or either bad, but we all have mental health. But if you want to be a part of this or partake in this, please contact me for the leadership and for the mental health. And or if you know others who would like to come in to participate or to listen, please contact me. Until the next time, you have a great day, and thank you for supporting us.